Good evening, ladies of the temple. Welcome to tonight's Temple Talk. Very excited to be here with you tonight on this budding spring day. It's a little chilly up here on the mountain. How are you this evening? Grabbing a journal and a pen and your favorite beverage, lighting a candle if you desire. I'm always lighting a candle for these sacred teachings. And imagine you're gathering around a fire with me tonight, as these temple trainings are always temple teachings that I do every Tuesday evening here in the temple. So welcome, new women of the temple. Welcome to our growing, expanding international community of awakening women here to explore your deeper purpose, your spiritual gifts for the world, come together in a safe space to share with women of like mind and heart. And I'm very excited to share tonight, right as we're getting started with this very important topic, that the team's been working really hard to put together a very special activation event for you. So we did this spring equinox activation event. It was really incredible. We had women joining from around the world. It was very powerful. Ladies did not want to get off the line. And so we're going to do it again, Beltane weekend, May 1st. So mark your calendars for 12 to 5 o'clock EST for another very powerful activation event. So what happens is in these events, as we come together, share, open our hearts, receive support, share what's happening in your life, recognize that you're not alone, that as an awakening woman, we're all going through a birth canal right now, birthing new things into the world. And collectively, we've been going through a really incredible rebirthing, a spiritual rebirthing. So we're all feeling the pressure being pushed through the birth canal. So we're recognizing more and more what's not working and aligning more with our spiritual authenticity to be serious about the purpose and the gifts we're meant to bring forth. And so that's the type of conversation we're going to be having that activation day. So this is a Priestess activation retreat day for Beltane. And the Beltane portal is very powerful. It's a time of celebration, of coming together in community, of celebrating the return of the sun, celebrating the seeds that we're planting of our desires this year, and seeing what might be in the way that's holding us back. And that's a link to this conversation today that Spirit brought through to speak about. The dynamic tension of change, facing the resistance to change. This is a really rich topic that I've talked about before that I feel like Spirit was bringing through at this time of the year. Because for many of us, finishing the winter solstice portal, we come through to spring equinox, it's a time of celebration, realignment, divine right action. The sun is returning to the earth as we celebrate in Easter. And so the Beltane portal will be a continuation and deepening of that. So it's really powerful when we come together at the solstices and equinoxes and power points throughout the year to be able to explore this, to have a bigger conversation of what we desire for our lives and to align more with it. And when we set intention in Sacred Circle in a powerful community of awakening women, it magnifies our desires. And Spirit hears the call. The universe listens when it's magnified it even more. And so all the perfect resources, circumstances, and people have already aligned to support your vision and dream birthing in the world. And when we believe that and we recognize that, we open up to the magic and miracles that are a part of the dream and birthing into the world. We recognize that we're not alone. So many of us that are awakening on the path right now are getting the call to step forward more into what we're here to create and what we're desiring. And this natural resistance to change can happen. And so really important to talk about this evening, this dynamic, this I like to call the dynamic tension of change. And so we feel the bit of dichotomy between the ego and the soul. And so we know we're here to birth something specific in the world. It's scary because we're just one person. It can feel so much like I'm just one person. How am I going to do this? This feels overwhelming. I don't even know where to get started. Maybe I'm kind of crazy thinking I can do this thing, whether it's to birth the creative spiritual business or the book or the organization or the podcast, whatever your creative project is you're being called into, can feel really scary because we all have wounding around stepping out. We all have wounding around, will we be accepted? Will we be abandoned? Will we be chastised? Is it safe to really be me? So that, I say wounded ego because we understand what that means. And I don't really feel it's wounded, but just for the ease of the use of the word, the ego part of us that can fall into fear and keep us paralyzed from moving forward has had wounding from the past when we have stepped out. And that piece gets to heal through the process. And that's this Beltane activation retreat that's going to be happening May 1st will be a big piece of that, is healing that inner dialogue and conversation that you're not alone. Everyone has these fears when it comes to making shifts and changes in our lives. Because if there's something we know we're here to birth and our soul is calling us into that, then we know that there's something important happening that we're here to do. And when we feel that fear of the possibility of being abandoned or chastised or pushed away, which is actually linked to past lives, that fear can rise up and it can really, really be debilitating. And so we feel that dynamic tension inside. It's literally the same dynamic tension that births a baby through the birth canal. It's the same type of dynamic tension that pushes the coal into a diamond. It's the same type of dynamic tension that the seed feels when it's pushing itself through the top of the soil into the sunlight for the first time. Every great thing that's ever been created on the planet has had dynamic tension to birth it. Birth isn't easy. Birth is painful, straight up. Anyone that's had a child, birth is painful because you are transforming into something new. And so our society kind of trains us very early on that if something is painful or uncomfortable, then it's probably not right. And so the ego wants to pull back because it's uncomfortable. And so a big piece that we get to heal on this path is to recognize that that actually means that we're headed in the right direction because we're up to something big. If we were playing small and just living comfortable, like most people on the planet, then we wouldn't feel that call to step out and birth the thing. We wouldn't feel that fear in doing so. All that stuff gets to be faced because when you're a visionary leader, when you're a light worker, when you're a healer, and if you're here in the temple, you are, then we must change our relationship to that uncomfortable feeling, that dynamic tension of change, that fear response, and heal the inner dialogue and the inner conversation, shift. It's like a reprogramming, really. Programming ourselves in a new way to recognize that actually means we're on target. And so grab your journal for a moment. I always like to give something to sink this teaching deeper. Grab your journal and just jot down, what do I know is the thing I'm meant to birth this year? What do I know is the thing I'm meant to birth this year? And so it's a way of working with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is saying, if I knew what I was meant to birth into the world this year, what would it be? It's a way of asking the mind, who loves to find the solution to the problem, that loves to answer the question. You give the mind kind of a stealthy way to ask the question, which taps into the part of you that already knows. Because you already know what you're here to birth. You already know who you actually are and your spiritual authenticity, which goes back to the beginning of this life. When you came into the world, I truly believe you were birthed into pure light. You were birthed as an innocent being. You were birthed whole and complete. It's the human experience and programming and societal belief systems that we take on that create us as who we really aren't. And so this priestess path is about uncovering, unraveling, peeling back the layers to get into the core of who we really are, that we know we were the whole time. It's a remembering, it's a rebirthing. And so anytime you'd like to ask an inquisitive question of yourself, this is a great way to tap into that part of you that does know. That part of you that does have the answer, that part of you that is aware of the fact that you're here for something important and you have important spiritual work to do. It's also linked to your passion. Your purpose is linked to your passion. And so that's one thing can make us resist change quite a bit too, is not only just the unknowing and how's it going to shift my life and the people in my life, how will they then view me? Will I be accepted? That whole conversation. But is also, I don't have all the answers. I don't know what it looks like. How can I move forward into something that I don't know yet? That's the great mystery and the great magic of moving forward. And so this 9-month immersive process women go through of initiatory process, it's an unraveling and a rebirthing. It is birthing anew into who you actually are more of. And so if you were to shift your relationship to change, if you were to allow yourself to be healed in the face of the resistance to it, what could be possible for you? It's like shifting your relationship to fear itself, because really the resistance to change is coming from a fear of the unknown. You don't know what it's going to look like. Here's a cool thing. What if it could be more wild and magical than you could ever imagine, beyond your wildest dreams? Way more incredibly abundant and prosperous and loving and passionate in every level beyond your human understanding. What if it could actually be that? And so if we're leaving it up to our limited egoic mind to decide what it's going to look like, we actually miss out on all the magic and miracles that naturally unfold when we step in and say yes. But we must say yes for all that to unlock. I was just talking about this yesterday on a summit, incredible summit of women leaders. And we were talking about this very thing. And so what if it could actually be more than your logical mind could ever comprehend? So we live in this 3D world of physical reality and our perceptions and belief systems that create the world that we experience. And in the loss of the magic that this mystic priestess path opens us back up to, the loss of that magic is a loss of connection to the divine, to the wonderment of the world, to the connection of the natural world that as a child we were so in love with, that playing in the forest and running on the beach and playing in the fields with the little bugs and animals and butterflies and birds, and all that was a wild, magical experience. But we unlearned that, right? And as adults, we say, well, that's just child's play. That's not, that's, oh, isn't that just so cute? It's discounted. But that's actually connection to the natural world is one of the most powerful, and is one of the pillars of the path, one of the most powerful ways to awaken magic again, which is so natural and innate to us because we're so connected to it, the natural cycles and seasons of the earth. And pretty much everybody I know has said when they can go out and take a walk in nature and be present with the natural world, their state changes. It creates a state change. And the more you can connect with your spiritual authenticity, your spiritual grounding, connecting to the natural world, taking care of yourself, the more you awaken these magic and miracles, the more comfortable you become with change. The more you recognize that change actually starts to become a natural state of being in the world, because you're actually here to create amazing things. And to create amazing things, it requires that we expand and grow and continue to shift and change our perception of the world. Otherwise, we're not able to create the new. If we just stay living in the dynamic that we're living in, this reality that we know right now, we never have the opportunity to get outside of the box that we've put ourselves in, which is natural. We live in a society that does that all the time. Then we never know what we're really capable of. We never know what levels of magic and miracle are actually possible that are on the other side of your resistance. And so I remember this quote at some point that just really landed to me so much, that everything you desire is outside your comfort zone. And it's just so true. And so if we allow ourselves the opportunity to shift our relationship to the change, shift our relationship to being uncomfortable, shift our relationship to the resistance, we recognize that it starts to become the meter if you're on purpose or not. It starts to become the meter if you're doing what you came here to do. It starts to become the meter if you're up to big things. And so we really start to change that, and it becomes a new conversation. So that's what I want to bring forth this evening for you to really go deeper into. If you knew what you were here to create this year, what would it be? What's the biggest fear that's in the way of that? And is that fear really true? And if it is true, it's based most likely on the past and a past wounding. Is it true now? And so just allow yourselves to go into it a little bit deeper to recognize that change is always possible, that it doesn't have to be scary or traumatic, that it can actually be blissful and full of magic and miracles. And that is what's possible for you. So if you didn't hop on in the beginning and here, very exciting that we've put together another activation event. So this one is going to be Priestess Activation Retreat, Beltane Weekend, Saturday, May 1st, 12 to 5 EST. Save the date. I'm going to drop the link in. It's the registration page has just gone live. We're offering another incredible scholarship to join us. Normally our activation days have a really high value because it's a powerful mojo, but we're doing an incredible scholarship off for as many women to join us through spirit guidance and divine guidance. So I'll put that link here below. Check it out. Mark your calendar. It's going to be incredible. Women joining from around the world. We had an amazing spring equinox activation. This will be the last one of this kind that I'll be doing for a while live. So plan to join us for an incredible day. Much love and blessings. I'd love to hear in the comments here below in the temple what you received from tonight, and I will personally respond to that. All right. Have a wonderful evening, my loves. Many blessings. Ta-ta for now.